Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. I am once again simulcasting on Rumble and Utizzle, and I barely got up this evening. I was having technical problems. Almost opened the door up and threw everything out in the yard and went to bed. But no, I kept forging onward because we got a lot to talk about tonight. The government's opening back up. So they say. But we'll get some info from the chats when folks check in, and we'll see what's going on. But so I'll play some videos while people get ready to come in, and then we'll be like butter and get on a roll, right? I hope so.
Hey, you ever heard of Ozempic, you fat ass?
The murder of Charlie Kirk was not a political act. The murder of Charlie Kirk was not.
Hey, you ever heard of Ozempic, you fat?
I do think it's collapsed because by any classical definition, Mark, they lost the 2024 popular vote, the Electoral College vote. They don't have the Congress. They don't have the White House. They don't have the Supreme Court. They're 30-70 on the 30 side of all these issues from crime, the environment, energy, the border, illegal immigration. And they're frustrated. They're angry because now Donald Trump is doing something they never imagined anybody would do. He's not treating the symptoms of the progressive pathology. He's talking about the sources. So he's going after the institutions that indoctrinate people in the university, NPR, PBS, the elite law firms, and that's setting them on fire because they understand that they always exercise power irrelevant of whether they actually had political power. They had cultural, social influence through these institutions, foundations, the university, K through 12, corporate boardrooms. And now when he went after woke and ESG and PBS, it's a whole new counter-revolution, and they're melting down. I don't even think there is a Democratic Party right now. It's just an amalgamation of a bunch of different groups, but they're all way to the left. And we shouldn't fool ourselves about New York, Mark. I think it's not going to be. They may win. Mondami may win, but he couldn't win anywhere else, I don't think, other than these blue cities, and that's a minority of the population. So they're going over the cliff, and like any addict, they would rather go over the cliff than quit.
Hey, you ever heard of Ozempic, you fat ass? Hey, you ever?
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhaul DOJ to investigate every radical DA and HE in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation. Put the table. I've been looking at them for a long time. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies. Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution.
Hi, folks. Thanks for joining me tonight. Yes, we will take care of it. And this poor young man right here trying to show his T-shirts off. Got a very simple word on the front, says freedom. That's what it says. And what happens? Some masked whack job comes and throws his shirts out in the street, and another guy comes up and yanks his cross off his neck. I'll go over that stuff. And he's the one that gets arrested. But I heard it's going to turn out all right. We shall see. Berkeley's going to have its hands full. I'll put it that way. Todd, how you doing? Aracelis, nice to see you. Robin, Rain, Miss Mendersu, Randy's here. Darla's here. Jerry says, good evening, y'all. All right, that's my kind of language. Nice to see you. Rebecca, Elva. Let's see. Good. Everybody's coming in. Wayne's here. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Wayne, everybody. I want to thank Wayne, and Norm came by this morning for buying me a coffee. Thank you, Norm. I appreciate it. And, of course, Mike and Bev helping me out this week. I appreciate it very much. Who am I missing? Yeah, Gary's here. Ann's here. Gary, Ann. If I miss anybody, I do apologize. But it looks like I got everybody all right. And then everybody that comes in after my salutations. So, yeah, hi, Robin. Nice to see you. So, the government open? Because I got a tally board here that shows that they voted for it to be open. And there's some questions that were bebopping around. There they are on motion to concur in the Senate amendment. So, hi, ourselves. How you doing? Deanna, nice to see you. Miss Bittersue. Oh, she said, boom, put some coffees up. Let me see. I'll put some booms up. I'll put some bombs up. Did it actually open? I know Trump's got to sign it, but and did they put the provision in where we can say, "Oh, buzz a boom, pow"? Sue all these creeps like Jack Smith, pow, and what's his name? Adam Schiff, boom. How much you want to bet? Well, we know Adam Schiff used to work for the C.I.A. And we know that Peter Strzok used to work for the C.I.A. before he went to the FBI. I wonder if Jack Smith ever worked for the C.A.I. Because I want to talk about that a little bit. You know, George Soros, so what I really think is going to, I was going to make a copy of my coffee link, Gary, and I didn't, but I'll podge it in there. But I've been watching stories on the creation of the CIA. Allen Dulles, and it goes way back to the end of World War II when we had OSS, and that was transformed into the CIG, Central Intelligence Gathering, and then it turned into the C.I.A. And I guarantee you there's going to be some threads from George Soros to George Soros. That's where he was originated from. Operation Paperclip, right? Operation Paperclip after the war. That's how he got. I think so many of them are going to have those ties to the C.I.A. How much y'all want to bet? So let me see. HTT. That's what I believe is going to be the situation. How many people have you heard? War former C.I.A. Of course, I don't know if I can just come out and say it, but you get your videos taken down so much if you say the wrong things. But we know that Adam Schiff worked for the CIA, and we know that big news agencies put out that Peter Strzok worked for the C.I.A. Right? So who else do we know? But we've been told in the 17 drops that there were a lot of C.I.A. people that were going to be installed in Congress and other places in government. I should have the link for Buy Me a Coffee if anybody wants to help out. I do greatly appreciate it. Everybody that's helped out. Where's my coffee cup? But we're going to have to do a compilation. We know verified compilation of who was on the C.I.A. But Peter Strzok's a definite, and Adam Schiff is a definite. But do I have to add, in my opinion? Yeah, I think I will. But I'm pretty sure that's the case. And I think Soros is going to go all the way back to the OSS and stayed on through the CIG and the CIA. And it's going to be some difficult truths that we're going to have to deal with. Because what did Kennedy say? Right, 2 weeks before his assassination, roughly. Whiskey, how you doing? That he was going to smash it into 1,000 pieces and spread it to the wind. So hopefully things will be to Donald Trump's liking as far as the government reopening, and that the provision will be in there for certain individuals to be sued, because it's all part of the pain, right? PAIN. Oh, yeah, that's the distraction, the files, that like they never gave a damn about it. Here's what all this stuff they were hollering about. ABC, of course. Breaking. Sex offender Jeffrey Epstein referred to Donald Trump as the dog that hadn't barked and told his former companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, that alleged victim, Virginia Giuffre, who's no longer with us anymore, who passed away, by the way, very suspicious, had spent hours at my house with Trump, according to email correspondence relayed, blah, blah, blah. I showed you the 17th letter mentioning Virginia. I told you if you want to see it, just put Virginia in the 17th letter. And peace through prayer. Not only is it peace through strength, but it's peace through prayer. And but now Politico, ABC, on the night they're voting to open the government, when it was the government shutdown was all the rage. All the news was talking about all the starving people and all the catastrophes that are going to happen. Now, while they're doing a vote to open the government, their newsfeed is full of Epstein crapioca, right? Crapioca. So, no mention of a person getting assaulted, multiple people being assaulted, waiting in line for a Charlie Kirk memorial at a supposedly premier college, and they just worry about Epstein. Okay, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. Spell it C-U-E, whiskey. Got to spell it C-U-E. Don't put that letter in now. I used to blow a cork over that. Now the best thing I could do, I have to remove it because, I get in trouble with this stuff. But anyway, here's another one for you right here. He's not the only one. There's a red Trump shirt. See that guy? Afraid to support your favorite candidate? Afraid to put up a yard sign or bumper sticker because you fear the vandalism? Bullied into silence in school? Need to lurk in the shadows to support your candidate? There's a term for that. It's called domestic terrorism. Yeah. You might want to put a picture of this on your Meta page. I'm going to send that to a friend of mine so they can post it. Because it's simple. It's obvious. Just like this phony shutdown. Phony baloney shutdown. But they've been exposed. They've been exposed. People know that it's a big crock. And we're going to keep on frailing on them. Frailing. On the election. Okay? The election fraud. Fraud. Look, here's Harry the Sissy. Remember he got the poo-poo dumped on his head? He must be in therapy or something. Because I hadn't seen him posting too much. Absolutely pathetic. I cannot believe that we caved to this wannabe dictator and his goons. Thanks to the Democrats who vote no. We'll remember who bent the knee. Well, the question to you, Harry, the Harry the fairy, weird. You guys all told us this was a Republican shutdown? How can you rationalize this stuff, boy? That's probably why he's not showing his face or being involved with people, because it's so idiotic and ridiculous. And he's a fast talker. He's got his talking points. He must sit there and rehearse them. They're all these progressive socialist talking points that he just rattles off. He doesn't let people get a chance to say a word edgewise, and he does it on TV. Well, they got a new kid on the block who didn't do very well, I think. You'll see him toward the end. He asked for others in the on the panel to help him out. Of course, he was talking with Scott Jennings, and Scott Jennings just kicked him around like a soccer ball. Yeah, let me see if I can find that clip. But they got a new kid on that's doing his share of prattling, and he didn't hold up very well. Is this it right here? Let me see. I hate these black screen one. Let me see.
You said, quote,
oh, that's Fetterman. I'll talk to him. I'll put him up in a minute. Remind me to put up Fetterman. This must be it. Fetterman hits the nail on the head. He must have got some good therapy while he was at Andrews Air Force Base. Hi, Yvonne. Nice to see you. Yeah, he's a paid agitator. That's right. We don't forget it, or it will happen again. Let me see if this is the right clip.
Like you cannot.
Yeah, here's a new kid. You see him there? He's got his hand held up. He's next to that woman. He's got a white shirt on. Listen to how he tries to do the fast talk and talk over Scott Jennings. He can't really get his points through. He changes the subject as soon as Scott Jennings slaps him flat on one thing. He changes it to another, and then he looks at the panel and says, hopefully you all can help me out here. Because I think Harry Sisson's home taking aspirin or something. I don't know.
Put on the American people that Democrats were the one that were hurting people, making this plight.
Who was casting the votes against opening the government? Democrats or Republicans?
Who was
casting the votes?
Scott, who was wanting to cut SNAP benefits?
Nobody.
Republicans
voted to fund SNAP 15 times.
SNAP benefits after 2 courts ruled that it was unallowed?
Republicans voted to fund SNAP 15 times. Democrats voted to defund it 15 times. And now it took, and we had to get 8 to join us.
You talk about the Affordable Health Care Act, okay?
It's terrible.
Landmark legislation is not perfect. We understand that Democrats, Republicans, Independents, 70% of Americans, not Democrats, not just Independents, 70% of Americans believe that they should increase those subsidies past the dead mark of December, the COVID era.
Benefits.
It's so affordable, we got to dump hundreds of millions of dollars into it every year. That's how affordable it is. Another fresh-faced, arrogant punk, but he jumped right from food stamps when he knew that was a loser. Now he's trying to talk about, the Bernie line. We got to save people's lives with the health care.
A huge, huge thing that Democrats, Republicans, 70% agree with. And look, when it comes to the government shutdown, I was of the persuasion that to go for it, I didn't really get it. Democrats wanted a fight. They got a fight. Chuck Schumer, back in last year, didn't fight. He got a lot of flack for it, particularly in his home state of New York. So they wanted a fight, but they found a fight that was worth fighting with talking about the Affordable Health Care Act. People were with them. Democrats were leading in the polls. We won big on Tuesday.
That's what it was for, right? It was for the election, right?
Well, I think we should have kept going. What I don't understand, and which I would love others to help me out understand, I don't understand why we caved so soon when the American people, it seemed to be on our side.
Because the election ended. You just said it. It was for the election.
Listen,
the election ended. Then you caved.
What did you get out of that except him trying to be a know-it-all, a fast-talking know-it-all, but he just ran out of points. Can y'all help me here? Whoa, what did I just do? Daggone it. Is this another one? Let me see if this is another one. Yeah, this might be another clip. Let me see. I thought I took the wrong one out. Hold on.
One thing that came out of this entire fight is that the healthcare system in this country has been, Obamacare, has been exposed as a complete and utter failure. We all know it now. Everybody admits it. The other thing that came out is that Democrats are willing to make people suffer. And you heard Democrat after Democrat today say, well, we just couldn't prolong the suffering. So they admit that their political tactics were designed to inflict suffering on the American people. We also learned about cynical politics in this. But the overall issue of health care is going to have to be dealt with because the system has failed. Everyone, I think it's bipartisan now, admits it. But I'm not sure that having Mike Johnson commit to giving billions of dollars to insurance companies for insurance that's not getting any better, it feels like it's getting worse to the American people, is going to make a difference. I could see Democrats and Republicans coming together to discuss that, like if we're going to spend this amount of money, should we be just giving it to insurance companies or should we be doing something else with it that would actually have a chance of making it feel like you could get seen by a doctor and get a better health outcome? But what we're writing checks to health insurance.
I meant to interrupt you while I was showing that kid's face. You could tell Scott was hurting his little pee-pee. He had a look on his face. The bottom line is everybody is admitting that Obamacare is a bag of garbage. I mean, I want to say something else, but I didn't. Nobody's saying anything good about it. They got those subsidies in during COVID, and they're just trying. That's the other thing. COVID was multi-purpose, okay? not just to get rid of Trump, but to gauge the resistance level of taking away people's rights, but also to mask the disaster that people were facing with their premiums without COVID and the subsidies for COVID. People would have been feeling those increases in their policies way sooner. Hi, Pappy, how you doing? So it served multiple purposes, but Scott Jennings does a good job, as always, handling these nitwits. And there's just so much coming out that's indefensible. How can you defend that it was the statement that it's a Republican shutdown and then throw a damn fit when a couple of Democrats jumped ship to open the government and the Republicans voted 17 times, they said, didn't they? Did they say 17 times? Where's that Fetterman clip? He said how many times he voted for it. Whoa, let me find it. But Fetterman points out that his party is a bunch of, he might as well say, just a bunch of savages. And I always say people don't care unless their ox is getting gored. Notice he talks about how awful and horrible the comments his own party makes about him. And they are awful and horrible. But he needs to watch some of the stuff they say about Trump. He needs to watch some of the stuff they said about Charlie Kirk. He needs to bring up those Halloween costumes. But he focuses on what they say about him. But it's equally as horrible. But like I say, when their ox is getting gored, they take note of it. But anyway, I believe he's waking people up.
Quote, I've drunk deeply of the venom of both the left and the right. As a connoisseur, I can confirm that the most poisonous, the bitterest, is from the far left. That is pretty remarkable to hear you say that as an elected Democrat. Why?
No. It's just been my personal experience on this thing. And when I asked my digital team, I said, we're on all the platforms. Really, what's kind of the harshest? What's kind of the most personal? And the answer was immediate. He said, "Oh, blue sky. It's blue sky." And the difference is, the right would say really rough things and names. Some names I won't repeat on TV, but the on the left, it was like they want me to die, or that we're cheering for your next stroke, or that's terrible that depression won. Why couldn't it depression won? And I hope your kids find you. They even have like the graphic, a GIF where they have like a stroke, in your head, cheering at that. Yeah, and they said that. I remember one, they claimed, the doctor let us down, and why did they have to save his life? Just really, I just can't imagine. People are wishing, I wish he dies, or I want him to die, literally cheering for a stroke. And I don't know what the kind of a place where that comes from. That's much different than just calling me a name. That's really been consistent, in that community online.
Yeah, it is terrible, Fetterman. But, I need to play you that clip of James Carville, one of your founders of the current Democrat Party, talking about shaving people's heads bald and marching them through the street and let people spit on them. That's what he said. I still got that clip. People just march them down the street and everybody spit on them and they shave their heads bald. They shame them like they did in France. How about we play that? Or how about I play that guy that was a Capitol police officer supposed to be? He's got jailhouse tattoos. He looks like a damn jailbird. And he says, I wish Donald Trump had a stroke. Have a stroke and live the rest of his life paralyzed. That's what I wish for Donald Trump. You need to see that stuff, Fetterman. And Dana Bash, when you sit there, she's a typical media person. You sit there and say the media is inciting this. The media is not giving the whole story. The media is twisting the truth. They just stare at you with a dumb look that right what's on her face right now, a stupid hound dog dumb look. And they play dumb. But hopefully they've got stuff in motion to get rid of that damn dumbness. Speaking of dumb, here's a nitwit talking. You see, they grab at every straw in the broom. And one of the things they were jabbering about was the money sent to Argentina. Okay? We made money on that. It's called an investment. Okay? And what do you want? You want everybody in Argentina to cross the border and then give them the money and let them live here forever? Would that be better? But anyway, there must be something about the first name Scott, because this is Scott Bessent handling this idiot.
I hope this question doesn't piss you off. Yesterday, the stock market took a pretty good jump on news that the shutdown might come to an end. A lot of people did very well in the stock market, I assume, and I assume that you probably were one of them, and good for you.
That would be an incorrect assumption, because I had to sell all my stocks to become Treasury Secretary.
You sold them all?
Had
Really?
to, yes.
But you have a blind trust, I would imagine.
There's no such thing as a blind trust.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for straightening me out on that.
Oh, this was the one where this was the poison dart question. I got mixed up with another clip. This was the poison dart question where he says the stock market did pretty good today, and I'm sure you got your chunk out of it. So they're trying to run interference for Nancy Pelosi and that type, and hitting at a blind trust, and Scott Bessent just slaps him flat. Let me see what's going on in the chats. I'm just checking out what's going on in the chat. Yeah, Fetterman's calling out his own party. Rain says 15. Graybeard said 50. Oh, 15 times. Is that what Fetterman said? Yeah, but this was before. I'm not sure how many votes they had total. I mean, including until it's all said and done. Yeah, Kim, if he's the same Fetterman. If he's the same Fetterman. But he might have got some heavy psychological therapy while he was at Joint Base Andrews. Okay. This is the lunatics using flares, okay, and tear gas, and physically assaulting people who were waiting in line to get into the Charlie Kirk event. And the local police, the campus police, they let that stuff roll. Donald Jr. put out something. Where is it? He put out, when I come across it, I'll get to it. A post that these people are sick. And Donald Trump put up something about that used the word insurrection with these local politicians. We'll get to that too. I'm not sure. What did he say at the beginning of the video? He said he already voted 15 times. Anyway, I want to play these videos. Here's Trump laying the wreath for Veterans Day. Okay, and this is Fox News, but I guarantee you, the other news stations didn't give him 5 seconds of coverage. They also gave a real 21 gun salute. A real 21 gun salute for Donald Trump. And do you remember when Trump was pointing out the fact that when he was other times he was putting on the wreath, that they had that easel so flimsy? You know, call me crazy, but I think there was somebody trying to create a moment where Trump would put the wreath on, it would fall down by accident. Oh my goodness, where's my screen at? There we are, I'm back. Oh my gosh. Hopefully everything's okay. What's going on? Oh my screen's frozen. Can you all hear me? My chats are frozen, my screen's frozen. What's going on? Come on. Come on. Come on now. What in the world? I don't know if y'all can hear me or not, but my screen, there we go. I'm moving around now. Or I was. What in the world? What in the world? I hope y'all can hear me. I'm doing the best I can. Hello? Hello, folks. Can you hear me? Please tell me you can hear me. I'm working on it. I'm working on getting the screen unfroze. What did I say now? What did I say now? Hello? Hello? Hi, folks. Thanks for hanging in there. I hope you can hear me. Everything got blown out. I don't know what you can see on the screen. Everything's cockeyed. Won't register on the screen properly. Please enter the chats and tell me what you see on the screen. And if you hear me, because I have been pecking and banging and beating on this thing to get back in. So let me see if this plays. Sounds perfect. Yes, Miss Mindersu, I'm trying. But my items are not lining up on my screen properly. Does the kind of peaceful thing take up the whole screen, or just a part of it in the middle or off center middle? Sparky can hear me. Elva can hear me. Ha! Randy can hear me. Yeah. It's my picture shows what I'm having problems with. Plus the screen froze and wouldn't let me back in the studio. I was talking about when I felt they tried to sabotage Trump when he was putting up the wreath during his first term. All right. Well, this is off center too. I don't know what to do. I'll just put it the best I can. I don't know what you can see. But this is something White House put out.
Across oceans, jungles, mountains, and deserts, and battlefields and enemy camps across the globe, our veterans fought and bled to vanquish our enemies and preserve America's birthright of freedom. Because of you, America is safe. Because of you, America is strong. Because of you, America is free. And because of you, America will forever remain the bravest, mightiest, and greatest nation on the face of the earth.
All right, Donald J. Trump. Did it go from the top of the screen to the bottom, or just in the upper part? Yeah, this is a new video. Off center. Okay, Whiskey. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Well, I'll compensate for it. I'll compensate for it. Now, one thing the lunatic liberals were doing was trying to say that Trump was changing the name to Victory Day. You know, that's supposed to somehow impugn our veterans. But Trump, he knows what he's doing. And we're going to honor our veterans. But the main point is, from now on, when we get in wars, we're going to win them, okay? Win them.
Like being politically correct. So we're not going to be politically correct anymore. From now on, when we fight a war, we only fight for one reason: to win. We fight to win. As you know, today is not only Veterans Day, but it's my proclamation that we are now going to be saying and calling Victory Day for World War I. Victory Day. You know, I was recently at an event and I saw France was celebrating Victory Day, but we didn't. And I saw France was celebrating another Victory Day for World War II. And other countries were celebrating. They were all celebrating. We're the one that won the wars. And I said, from now on, we're going to say Victory Day for World War I and World War II. And we could do for plenty of other wars, but we'll start with those two. Maybe someday somebody else will add a couple of more, because we won a lot of good ones. But when I see other countries celebrating Victory Day, I watched it. I watched UK, I watched Russia. They were celebrating Victory Day, World War II. And I said, we got to have a Victory Day. Nobody even talked about it in our country. But from now on, we're going to be celebrating Victory Day for World War I, for World War II, and frankly, for everything else. Under the Trump administration, we're restoring the pride and the winning spirit of the United States military. That's why we have officially renamed the Department of Defense back to the original name, Department of War. And remember, we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything in between, we won everything that came before, and then we brilliantly decided to change the name of this great thing that we all created together, and we became politically correct.
Yeah, no more politically correct. And when we send young men and women off, it's to win. It's to win, not for political games. And, you know, Pete Hegseth gave a speech to follow up on that. And one, I got two clips. One's a short clip. One, I know it's off-center. There's not much I can do about it, the way the thing is, but I just kind of estimating. But anyway, he repeats something that he said last week.
Feels like a 1939 type moment, or hopefully a 1981 type moment, where America needs to lead and rebuild to ensure that we maintain that peace through strength. Enemies are gathering and threats are growing. We have to prepare now.
He repeated the 1929 moment or 1981 moment. Okay, a time of going an economic disaster or a time of rebirth. So once again, he talks more about what Trump was just talking about. No more politically correct or loopy-loony crap from the left.
Putting America first, and the roadmap is peace through strength. The third ingredient President Trump has injected is good old-fashioned Indiana common sense. Common sense is back at the White House, and it's back at the Pentagon. Common sense means putting warfighting, lethality, as the senator mentioned, training, discipline, accountability, readiness at the forefront of everything we do at the Department of War. That means no more social justice, no more political correctness, no more toxic ideological garbage that infected the department. As I've said before, but we repeat and we repeat, because as a good old television host, you know it takes a while for it to actually sink in. No more identity months, no more DEI offices, no more dudes in dresses. No more climate change. It actually was a thing. It actually was a thing. No more climate change worship, no more division, no more delusions, gender delusions or quotas, no more distraction. As the chairman of the Joint Chiefs puts it, Pete, you're clearing out the debris. That's what it is. We're clearing out the debris from out front of NCOs. Understand that sergeants
sergeants don't need sensitivity training. Ain't that the truth? But clearing out the debris, that was a good term. I was going to use that in my thumbnail, but I decided to use this one. Because they're going from mostly peaceful now to kind of peaceful. Kind of peaceful. Now on my screen, the picture's way off center. The picture block is way off center. But I know that it is halfway centered now. So, anyway, so that's the messaging that's going out. Oh my gosh. I'll get this out of the way. This is in Minnesota, I believe. Let me check. Let me check where this is. Hold on a second, folks. I'm going to pick up the article. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. What does it say? Public schools in Minnesota sure have changed a lot. What do you mean? Citizen Free Press, how have they changed? I'll show you. There we go.
muujiyeen farxad iyo taageerada weyn ay u hayaan horumarka waxbarasho ee iskuulkan. Intii lagu guda jiray munaasabaddan ayaa waxaa la guddoonsiiyey abaalmarino kala duwan ardayda soo bandhigtay dadaalka muuqda 3 bilood ee ugu horreysay sanad dugsi.
Yeah, that's in Minnesota. Imagine your kid going there. Don't understand what the hell they're saying, what they're doing. You're the outsider in your own country. Oh, guess what, folks? You can join ICE or you can go to Zoran Mamdami's cabinet or crew or whatever you want to call him. New York Mayor Zoran Mamdami is drawing a crowd, this time to join his transition team. In less than a week, 50,000 people have applied for a job in Mamdami's resume portal. The transition team is seeking to fill a range of jobs, from entry level to professional roles. Professional communists. You know, they got them. In city government, Mamdami says the number of applications that they've received reflects the excitement at the heart of this movement. No, they all know that they'll be on the gravy train. If they can get in with you, they can be authoritarian jerks on the commie gravy train, okay? Zoran to Moron, that's right, Whiskey. Well, he's not too dumb. He knows how to take advantage of dummies. Dumb dummies. Oh, what else did he do? He said he was going to call Trump. Oh, I bet you Trump... I'd like to be a fly on the wall for that call. Where'd that go? I got it somewhere out. Well, you know... Oh, where is it? Zoran, where'd you go, Zoran the Moron? Oh, here he is. Here he is. It was a Newsmax article. I was looking for, whoa. Now what? Watch out, Mountain Man. There we go. There we go. Watch it. Watch it. New York City Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdami said he intends to be proactive by reaching out to President Donald Trump before taking office, calling their communication a relationship that will be critical to the city's success. Yeah. In other words, you don't know your ass from third base, okay? And Donald Trump forgot more than you'll ever learn. And in your finest hour, you couldn't compare to Donald Trump's worst minute. He'll outshine you in his worst minute versus your finest hour. So anyway, oh, here's something a lot of people didn't know. First picture, they said Nottingham Man, kind of like Maryland Man. And people were, you know, who's the Nottingham Man? First picture of Nottingham Man accused of murdering 23-year-old woman. His name is Adedipo Agbola, appeared at Nottingham Crown Court on Monday, October 27th. See, they were trying to hide the fact he's Irish. They're trying to hide that. They don't want to start things up with the Irish again. Here we go. Here's some. Maybe I can get this big enough so you can put it on your meta page. Let me see. People who don't work have no right to tell people who do work that they aren't paying enough taxes. Amen. Amen to that. Here's one I had last week I didn't get a chance to put up. Let me see if this will be a good one to put on your meta. There we go. I wanted to put this up right after I played that Fetterman clip. the party of evil, Hate, Satan. The Democratic Party is dead. They have no leadership, no message, no hope. Their only message for America is to hate Trump. I'll tell you what, a family got a real good holiday gift. Jimmy Kimmel's wife cut ties with relatives over Trump support. Man, I bet you they're like, thank God. You don't have to deal with her at Thanksgiving. You won't have to deal with her at Christmas. You can act like a normal family. But I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think they're probably at the very least relieved. Ha Gary made it back. That's good to see. Ha. Yeah, it's supposed to be. Trump was the enemy, right? Yeah. Well, they can't figure out what they're doing. Now, here's something from Midas Trash Network. These people are, you shouldn't take mentally ill people and confuse them even more. That's cruel. But Midas Trash Network, they're confused themselves. So here is one of their viewers said, please make a video about the Dominion voting machines that are owned by MAGA and who were most likely manipulated by Elon Musk in the 2024 election. Wait a minute. I thought people deserved to go to jail for being election deniers. I thought people deserved to get sued and lose everything they own for being an election denier. I thought lawyers that tried to show what happened should lose their licenses and be fined. And here you are saying the things you're saying. Wait a minute, they just bought them like, what, a week ago? They didn't own them during 2024 election, but their brains take them wherever the hell. Oh, I tell you what, before I put this one up, I want to show you all a post. This was 2020. Today's date, the 12th, 2020. Shall we play a game? Nothing can stop what is coming. Got a link for you all to look at. Who stepped down today? Forced. Well, how many people have we seen step down? Nancy's one. Okay. And I got another one I'll show you in a minute, but more coming? Oh, yeah. Why is this relevant? How do you show the public the truth? How do you safeguard U.S. elections post-POTUS after Trump is gone? How do you safeguard them? How do you remove foreign interference and corruption and install U.S.-owned voter ID laws and other safeguards? It had to be this way. Sometimes you must walk through the darkness before you see the light. That was November 12th, 2020, this post. I was watching somebody on the news. They said, it doesn't say in the Constitution that you have to be a citizen to vote. We might have to change the Constitution. It's times like that I wish I could just appear on the TV screen, like Oz. I just snap my fingers and pop right on the screen, beard and all. And I say, look, nitwit, it doesn't say in the Constitution that there's 52 genders either. They didn't put in the Constitution that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. They didn't put in the obvious. And you don't have to put in the obvious. So, but anyway, what was the other post they put up today? Oh, before I show you that one, that same day they put up, I want to show you this. There's several examples. Where'd she go? Here she is. Who's this lady? Wherever she is, she's history. Oh, she's a looker. Exodus grows. Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, 80, says she won't seek re-election after serving in Congress since 2015. She beat her Republican challenger 61-36 in 2024. Where's she going? Why is she going? But she's one of many. I mean, she's not the only one. Usually they hang in there till they cork off. But this is the post they put up 2020 on November 12th. Also, on top of the one I just showed you. That's why I put this in. I put silent thieves in my title. Who are the silent thieves? Why are they manipulating you? How are they stealing your wealth? Bubble, crash, steal, lie, repeat. What is inflation? Monetary manipulation. Taxation without representation. Put an end to the endless. 1913. What happened in 1913, folks? What happened in 1913, and who was the president? Hey, she a real looker, Miss Rendersue. Who was the president? But who's the silent thieves? Well, Trump's rounding them up. He's cutting off their avenues of escape and cutting off their cash. I'll tell you what, I got some posts before I went live. I got some posts that I was wondering, is somebody listening to me? Somebody listening to me? Titanic's a good guess, but incorrect. As you cogitate, I'm going to put these up. Lives a TikTok. Oregon City Councilor Heidi Hoffman said her trans kid fled the U.S. after Trump was elected because it's not safe for LGBTQ people under Trump. If you think you got a trans kid, you're the problem, woman. She probably tried to get away from you. The College of Worcester in Ohio, a taxpayer-funded institution, hosted a black girl magic drag show. I didn't copy the video. On campus, this college has received hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal funding. One weirdo burlesque show in one college in one city costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your tax dollars are being spent to promote this garbage. Disgusting. 1913 was when the 16th Amendment was ratified to take your money. No limit. Take as much as they need. The income tax. The income tax. Supposedly to help during World War I, and only the rich were going to pay. Another line of BS. Now, everybody. Oh, guess what happened? Dana Wilson, former chief of staff for Gavin Newsom, has been arrested by the FBI on multiple charges, including conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud, bank fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstruct justice, subscribing to false, I don't know what that said, but anyway, she's in trouble. Ha, ha, ha. Have a good time dealing with that, Gavin. But anyway, where's the one that made me ask myself, is somebody watching my broadcast? Let me see. Remember when I said, this is the one, but I'll get to it in a minute. Remember I said All the credit card companies are out of Delaware. I said Delaware was crooked as a dog's hind leg. And where's Joe Biden from? Delaware? Remember me saying that about 6 months ago? But anyway, breaking. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins just revealed a massive amount of fraud in SNAP. 5,000 dead people receive it. I bet it's more than that. And 500,000 people are receiving it twice using the same name. Cut them all off and refer them to the DOJ. Oh, they're going to find way more than that. Let me see this one here. Elon Musk chimed in. Hold on. First, let me do this one. Ari Hawkins. New, the White House is plowing ahead with negotiations on tariffs, despite the fact the Supreme Court may strike down a large chunk of them. And foreign trading partners are still playing ball. That's because he has Plan 2, right? And I think Plan 2, would be to tell the courts, you're out of your damn minds and declare an insurrection act, conspiracy to undermine this nation's independence, financial and otherwise. But anyway, Elon Musk. What was I talking about last night, folks? Or night before last? A lot of you were watching night before last. And I just mentioned his name, Woodrow Wilson. And then about two broadcasts before that, I put up that quote by Woodrow Wilson. Did I not? Well, here's Elon Musk. Woodrow Wilson should be very low in the presidential rankings. He caused a lot of harm to America and the world. He was responding to Fisher King. Delaware became the dominant state for incorporation because New Jersey, under Woodrow Wilson, put the screws to business. Delaware said, we'll provide a stable environment. Well, yeah, they got a stable environment, all right. When you're getting skinned alive for 21% interest rates on your credit card, look at the back of the mailing address where they go, Delaware. But anyway, funny how that works, right? Here's my, let's see. Oh, this is where Donald Trump Jr. put up in a clip. She actually says, that video I showed you where they're setting off fireworks and beating that guy up. Here's a CNN reporter standing across the street from the mob calling to kill TPUSA attendees, saying that last night's events were mostly peaceful. She did use those words. That's why I made my thumbnail that says, how about kind of peaceful? Can I say kind of peaceful? Everybody worried about the Epstein abuse. Yeah, we should worry about it. Did anybody remember Juanita Broderick's name? How come they don't believe all women when it comes to Juanita? But anyway, also a voting fraud issue. Driver's licenses allow illegals to vote. And again, it slips up TikTok. This is a massive national security issue. I think it's part of the conspiracy. Look, the DMV, Virginia, D.C., and Maryland, they allow undocumented immigrant driving privileges, which means they automatically go on the voter roll. And I played the video for you of Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? Saying they don't check your citizenship. Go ahead and vote. If you can go in and vote, they're not going to check it. But look at the states. Ain't that something? How close is that to the electoral map? Huh? The Northeast, Minnesota, Illinois. Then you got the usual suspects: California, Washington, Oregon, sometimes Nevada, Colorado. Yep. A conspiracy to defraud the American people from the control of their own government. That is what Hermann Göring was convicted of. One of the many things. Bethel School District in Oregon is allegedly running an LGBTQ club for 3rd and 4th graders. Why is a school inviting kids as young as 8 to join an LGBT club to teach them they can be trans? These are teachers whose names match the flyer. Reach out to the school. They should be in jail for discussing lewd and lascivious things with children, cultivating children. Okay, I use the word cultivate, which, by the way, is the KGB used to use that word when they talk about getting agents to cultivate them. But anyway, here they are. How much is that costing us too? But, not just cash, but in ruined lives. Let me see this one. Oh, here they're all jumping up and down. Democratic Representative Gurjalva sworn in after, she's Irish, after 7 weeks and becomes key signature on Epstein file petition. Big deal. Of course, that's ABC. That's what they're taking their time to put up while this historic shutdown was coming to a close. Here's Scott Bessent again. Since my last video played clear, and I can kind of do a Chinese lineup here. But anyway, he's on Morning Joe of all things. Holy cow.
Amid this discussion of costs and prices and affordability, how does a $20 billion bailout of Argentina help Americans? You're the president's point person on that. Can you explain to those here who are feeling the pinch, including America's farmers, why the United States is helping out Argentina?
Well, do you know what a swap line is?
It's currency swap, yes.
Yes, but what is that?
You're the Treasury Secretary.
Yes, but why would you call it a bailout?
That is how...
In most bailouts, you don't make money. The U.S. government made money. We used our financial balance sheet to stabilize the government. One of our great allies in Latin America, during an election, the president there won in a landslide. The government's going to make money, and I would rather use peace through economic strength than have to be shooting at narco boats coming offshore if the government collapsed. We have a generational opportunity in Latin America to create allies. We just saw an election in Bolivia. We're probably going to see an election in Colombia. We've seen them in Ecuador. We're going to see them in Chile. So by stabilizing the economy there and making a profit, then that's a very good deal for the American people. And there's a lot we could have been doing for American farmers, but Democrats closed the government.
He takes care of them right off the bat, doesn't he? Why'd you call it a bailout? You don't make money on bailouts. We're making money on bailouts, buddy. Yeah, that's right. They homeschool your kids. Yeah, I see that. Where is that? I got a letter from a woman. Let me see if I can find it. I think her name's Cynthia. Let me see if I can find it. It's worth the wait, folks. Give me a minute. Here she is. I think this is it. Oh, my gosh. I hope I can expand that good enough. Let me see. No, Wendy. Her name's Wendy. She said, I had a new student in my Algebra 2 class. She was homeschooled previously. And you ought to take a screenshot of this, too, and share it. This was her first experience in public school. 2 days in, she's already unenrolling. I'm not surprised, given our last conversation. So she enrolled, and now she's saying goodbye. Her words when I asked her what she thought: I wanted to see what all the hype was and maybe go to prom, but this isn't for me. Most of the class is spent waiting for everyone to open their Chromebooks or figure out what to do after the teacher has literally said it 5 times. And I can't use the bathrooms because of all the vaping. I knew it wasn't going to work when she brought back an entire unit package meant to be completed over 2 weeks the next day. And no, she didn't use AI. I asked her a few questions, and she could explain the most difficult concepts verbally. She even offered her advice on how the sequencing of the packet could be improved. So the homeschooling kid is just sitting there dealing with a bunch of, well, I'm sorry, retards. Okay? To retard something means to change it into something that's not functioning very well. So the school system is retarding their own children's growth. Obviously. Oh, here's Andy No. Was this the one from Andy No? Put this up about the guy that got roughed up at this, Charlie Kirk thing. A Muslim far-left extremist who severely beat a TPUSA attendee on the face after robbing him at UC Berkeley has been identified. This is his name now, Jihad Depoles, I guess. The 25-year-old listed California Public Health as his employer. I'll just say his first name. Jihad is a rapper known as AR the Believer. He tried desperately to hide his face from the cameras after his disguise was pulled off. He came to the attack wearing gloves. Depoles attends the Lighthouse Mosque in Oakland, California. That's the guy that injured the man I've got on my thumbnail. And he works for the state. I think Tom Homan might want to take a look at that man, right? Am I right? Am I right? Let's see. I usually have at least one thing from Clandestine. Trump's language in this post is extremely important. Trump calls out the insurrectionist Democrat officials that are trying to obstruct the cleanup of Chicago. He points out how they refuse to stop or prosecute left-wing terrorism. Conditions met for the Insurrection Act. Now, I got that post. Where is it? Gosh, I got a lot of Trump posts as per usual. And he does say, let me see if this is it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, he's talking about the Epstein hoax. The Democrats are trying to bring up the Epstein hoax because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics of viciously closing our country while at the same time putting many at risk, and should pay a fair price. Pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else. And any Republicans involved should be focused on opening up our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. I wish we could I wish we could sue them all. After, the ones that need to swing with the long drop, short rope, right? Oh, this is the Miracle Mile Shopping Center in Chicago. Once considered a nation's best, has now more than 28% vacancy factor. That's almost a third. Ready to call it quits unless something is done about the murder and crime, which is prevalent throughout the city. Capital letters, call in the troops fast before it's too late. Just the news. Yeah, I've got a clip of Just the News. I want to get to the one where he's talking about the, he calls the Democrats insurrectionists. Don't tell me I got myself so worked up that I didn't, let me see here. What's this one? Oh, fortunately for the great state of Texas, Dave Phelan is quitting politics. He's another one that's stepping down. That's the one I was talking about. Here it is. Here's that same truth by Trump, but with this video of the guy. See if you all remember this guy. Fortunately for the great state of Texas, a former speaker who is no longer speaker, Dave Phelan, is quitting politics. He was the one responsible for killing every bill having to do with voter integrity and school choice. Good luck in your next life, Dave. Well, what do you all remember about this guy? He was drunk. That's what I remember from it. Could I be wrong? I don't know. But listen to him. Does he sound drunk to you?
The amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment? The chair has none. The amendment is adopted. The amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment? The chair has none. The amendment is adopted. The amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment? The chair.
Sound drunk to me. You sound. Whoa, wait a minute. I got to get that off screen. Why ain't they going off screen? Get out of here, you drunk. Ha ha ha. He was. You can't tell what he's saying. He's drunk. He's adopted. But anyway, I'm trying to find that post where Trump called them traitors. I mean, insurrectionists, I meant to say. That's not it. Let me see. What's that? Oh, that's referring to that Sheehan woman. She's going after her own mother about opening up the government. They'll even turn on their own parents. But, oh, man. Where is that one about? Well, I might not have got it. I don't know. But he does. He says they're insurrectionists and they're either unable or unwilling. Holy cow. Oh, here's the Chrissy Nome talking about Did you all hear about Operation Dirtbag? Raise your hand if you heard about Operation Dirtbag. Or give me a yes in the chats. That's an apropos name, Operation Dirtbag. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi. Hi, Sandman. How you doing? Nancy Pelosi would be proud. So I'll go ahead and play Operation Dirtbag. How many did they get? 150 illegal migrant S3 actual predators in Florida.
Amazing. This operation was called Operation Criminal Return. I call it Operation Dirtbag, because these individuals were sex offenders, but not just sex offenders, they targeted children. So sexual assault, battery, attempted homicide, these 150 individuals will be gone off of our streets. Our kids will be safer, and this partnership with Governor DeSantis in Florida is a model that we want to replicate across the country. These individuals should have never been in our country to begin with. The fact that they were sexual deviants and perverts, and now we've gotten them off of our streets, it's remarkable, and we need to do more.
You know, they're only in Florida, you know. Those type of people, they only go to Florida, which is BS. They're in every state. They're in Illinois where they're being protected. They're in California where they're being protected. And I had a clip of Steve Miller that I got about a month ago that I was going to play again, where he says Gavin Newsom and Pritzker are aiding and abetting or assisting in child trafficking and abuse. And of course, we got Ron DeSantis and a lot of good sheriffs in Florida. When you cooperate, you put people like that away for a long time, get them out of our country. But we had that midnight, what was it called? What was this operation where they got like 1,500 people? Well, this stupid judge right here, he looks like a brain surgeon, doesn't he? Rocket scientist. I mean, therefore I am. Activist Judge Jeffrey Cummings, appointed by Biden, has ordered that 615 people detained by ICE in Chicago be released from federal custody by Friday afternoon. They're not going to get away with it. That's going to be appealed. He can't. No, if they're deportees, they got to go, and you got no say in it. But he's another judge that's got to go. Got to go. I need to put those things up from Ruski Land. I got some good stuff from Ruski Land. But anyway, here's two more boats that got. Why don't we have a judge just bang the gavel down and say, no more blown up boats in the Gulf of Mexico. No, it's Gulf of America. I'm a judge. I say it's Gulf of Mexico. But anyway, here's two boats getting blown up. Ha ha. Just sit right back and hear a tale of a fateful trip that started up. Boom! Whoops! Sorry, little buddy. So, yeah, their history. Oh my gosh, this is awful. Remember we talked about that mayor that got. You already had one assassinated in Mexico. Mayor of Veracruz decapitated in Mexico. How much you want to bet they did it publicly in the street? Long Green, the cartels, their money goes a long way. And it ties back in to what Trump was saying about Steinbaum. She's Irish, that she's afraid for her life. He also said the same thing about Pritzker and Newsom. So she's so much afraid that she's putting, I didn't get the video of the construction. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum erects a wall around presidential palace. You see a guy there working a welder right there on the stepladder. That building is immense. And they got that fence going up all the way around it. Right after she gets assaulted by a man and presses charges against him. Remember we talked about that the other night? Now she's putting a fence up around the palace. So we don't want to hear nothing about our wall, woman. Here we go. Let's see what's going on in Ruski land. We're the Ruskies. Oh my gosh, they reported on this. We talked about this some time back. Okay? And also mostly focused around the Black Forest. All right? Italians. It also happened during the war between Bosnia and Herzegovina. Italians went on human safaris in Sarajevo in the 1990s to shoot civilians, writes the Italian newspaper Repubblica. Tourists literally hunted people in the mountains near the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina during the 92-96 war. It's believed they paid the Bosnian army soldiers between 70,000 and 88,000 pounds for these trips. A higher fee was charged, brace yourself, for the opportunity to shoot a child with a sniper, rifle. The Milan prosecutor's office is investigating this case. It is documented that 5 Italian citizens were involved in the crimes, but in reality, there could have been about 100 such shooters, the article notes. And do you think this is the first time they ever came up with this? Oh, let's sell safari tickets for human beings. You think that's never happened before? Of course it's happened before. Evil world. Now, what do you all think of this statement here? What does this mean to you all? The unmanned systems troops have been created in the armed forces of the Russian Federation, said the deputy head of the new branch of the military. Hi, Gus, how you doing? Unmanned systems troops, what is that? If you got troops, how can it be unmanned? If you have troops, it must be manned, right? Well, it's kind of like, Trump started Space Force, but I don't know what this is. This is their emblem right here. Oak leaves, arrow, sword, eagle's wings. The emblem of the new unmanned systems troops of the Russian armed forces. I don't know what that means. They talk about robots. Unmanned systems troops. Sounds to me like robots. What do you all think? Robotic, I don't know. Get a load of this. The Colombian president, Gustavo Petro, has ordered the suspension of intelligence information exchange with American special services. The corresponding order was given to the Colombian Public Security Forces in connection with the U.S. attacks on ships in the Caribbean Sea. Well, we just saw 2 of them. Following the British, the Americans were accused by the French of carrying out illegal strikes on vessels that, according to their data, belong to drug traffickers. Well, oh, ain't that something? We're really worried about that. No, we're not. What's this one? Russia and Ukraine. The Kremlin sees Europe's preparations for war with Russia. Peskov. Well, we're still looking for Sergei Lavrov. Remember I showed him the other night? Still no word from Sergei Lavrov. Peace talks between Russia and Ukraine are suspended until the end of the year due to a lack of progress, says Ukrainian Deputy Foreign Minister Serhiy, I can't say that last name, Kislistia. I don't know, I guess so. But anyway, no Sergei Lavrov. The general staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine responded to the news in the information field about the Zaporizhzhia direction and stated that they stopped the offensive of the Russian armed forces and the retreat of the Ukrainian armed forces was not due to fog, but because of heavy shelling. Well, there was a video of troops getting into this area, a very, very important area. And there's this weird fog that came down. But they're saying, no, it's not the reason. Wasn't the fog. But anyway, they're losing. And the Russians are putting 150,000 men in this area. Huge. I'll get to that in a minute. Venezuela announces urgent military exercises due to the deployment of a U.S. aircraft carrier to the Caribbean. The government of Venezuela announced the transition to a new phase of the Independence 200 plan. The plan involves a mass use of all types of weapons, military units, as well as the conscription of the Bolivian militia. So they're all getting pumped up for something to happen down there. Let's see. The Russians are putting 150,000 troops to take the last area of the Donbass. And they've taken out a lot of Ukraine's power. Last Saturday, for the first time in all major cities in Ukraine, were left without power. All major cities in Ukraine. And it's getting cold, folks. The power went out after a nighttime attack on power plants and substations and had not returned by the evening. Another 12-hour outage is expected today. Here, let me see if this is part about. Oh. Then you got operations like this going on. The Russian FSB foiled a Ukrainian military intelligence operation to hijack a Russian MiG fighter, equipped with hypersonic Kinzhal missile to provoke the largest NATO airbase in Constantina, Romania. To hijack the MiG-31, Ukrainian GUR officers tried to recruit Russian pilots, offering them $3 million, 243 million rubles. A false flag is what they were trying. The U.S. no longer finances Ukraine, but receives money for weapons through NATO, Trump said. We no longer spend money on Ukraine. We now get paid through NATO. So we're distancing our involvement, and Russia's turning up the heat. And no, they're not turning up the heat. They're cutting off the heat. The Russian Federation has deployed, here we go, 150,000 troops to the Pokrovsk area to encircle it and neighboring cities, said the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. In an interview with the New York Post, Russia's goal is to encircle whatever and neighboring cities from the north, south, and east, cutting off supply routes in its last attempt to capture the entire Donetsk region, he said. So they're making their move. Once that operation's done, if the people are going to be burnt out, they're going to be sick of not dealing with power. The Donetsk region, which is what Putin wanted at the beginning, is going to be taken over. I think that's going to be going into the peace phase. They won't have a choice. Let me play this video for y'all. It's a flashback video. Where did it go? Here it is. And you got me as far as why the quality is so low. I don't know if they're not allowing good copies of this to go out, but I want you to pay attention to it because it's election night and it's Brad Raffensperger, and he starts to say that there's only 2% of the vote left, and I don't expect it to change the results of the election. And at the time, Trump was ahead by 2 points. And then they cut his feed off. But then they let him back on. He said the same thing. But while he was off the air, a reporter said, well, it's a heavily blue area, and it could change the result. Anyway, I'm probably not giving the best description. You all listen to it. I think Raffensperger, he is going to be playing a big role in providing evidence for people that are manipulating these elections and probably threatened him and a lot of other people. I could be wrong, but I believe that's the case. Listen to how this thing rolls out. This is actually election night.
Biden had high hopes late in the game of flipping in this election, but we shall see. Is Georgia, and that state's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger is with us now. Mr. Secretary, good morning on a busy morning. I guess the big question is, Hoda?
Yeah, we want to know, when are we going to get your votes? When are we going to find out who's won your state?
Well, we have about 2% left to go. We had great success yesterday. We had 4.7 million voters that voted. Record breaker for us, beats the 4.1 in 2016. We also had average wait time of only 2 minutes, statewide average. We have about 2% left to go, and you can see where we are right now with the results that have been reported. I don't think it'll change any of the outcomes, but that's what really people that make those predictions do. What we'll do is get...
Well, that was interesting, though. We were just getting to the good part there because the Secretary of State said they got 2% left to count. But he did not think it would change the outcome.
That's interesting.
Did you see them cut him off? And Trump was up 58.5 to Biden's 56.3 or something like that. I don't know if I ought to play that part again or not, but anyway, you can rewind it in the video.
But then he deferred to the prognosticators, which I think is over to you.
Look, I can just tell you what our models say is where those counties are. They are heavily Democratic counties, and it's the Atlanta numbers. So it is going to shrink. Perhaps, if I were an arbiter of an election result, I wouldn't want to be the one saying yes. And when we count the vote, it'll change the result. I think his job is to be the umpire.
Well, let's ask Mr. Secretary. Can you hear me now? You just were saying something.
I'm getting phone bombed or something.
Oh, okay. Well, fair. You're a busy guy. You're probably all your friends wanting to know the same thing we want to know, which is when is Georgia going to report its results? But you said something interesting, sir. You said 2% left to count. You didn't think, however, that it would be changing the outcome. Right. Is that based on your analysis of where those votes are outstanding, or are you just guessing it because of the fact that it's only 2%?
We don't guess. What we do is report. We just see where the candidates are. Both presidential, congressional, senatorial. And you look at how many votes are out there. Even if one of the candidates got 100%, it probably wouldn't be enough to move it one way or the other.
Gotcha.
But it is what it is. We'll just wait till everything's done. The county's working diligently to get that done today.
You saw those totals. If there's only 2% left, Let me see if I can forward that video. It doesn't let me forward them. Daggone it. It doesn't. How come it won't let me forward it? But anyway. Trump led by more than 2%. He led by 2.4%, something like that. So how can, if there's only 2% of the vote left, how could Biden win? And if he did win, it was because he won 100% of the 2%. Get it, folks? That's why I'm keeping this video in my quiver, right? Here's a I think this is the Just the News clip Trump was talking about. Let me see. I've never seen this woman. This is Just the News. But I would give her a bit of advice. Maybe tone it down on the earrings. They're very distracting. But anyway.
The Clinton corruption files. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel have now shown Congress documents about former President Bill and former First Lady Hillary Clinton's foundation and evidence that they collected donations from foreign and domestic interest-seeking influence. And the fact that AG Bondi and Director Patel just found this new cache of documents is raising concerns that this evidence was kept from previous prosecutors' investigating the Clinton Foundation and the pay-to-play allegations against the Clinton family, gosh, a decade ago. So officials familiar with the matter have said that the documents will make clear that there was some kind of effort to obstruct legitimate inquiries into the foundation by blocking real investigation by line-level FBI agents and DOJ field prosecutors and keeping them from following the money. So you can read more about this bombshell story over at Just.
So they're getting into the Clinton Foundation. And what have I posted so many times? I posted the Fox News. Here we go. Clinton Foundation. Crime against children. Right? What does it say up top? Wiener texting 50-year-old. Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So we shall see how that pans out. But Trump is pointing people to Just the News. Let's see what this one says here. Let's fire through these. Just in, judge issues shock ruling that could upend battle for House control. Another judge that needs to be removed. A Utah judge just handed Democrats a major win ahead of 2026 midterms, tossing out a GOP-drawn congressional map and replacing it one that carves out a new Democrat-leaning district in the deep red state. Another judge has got to go, be investigated at the very least. Longtime GOP congressman makes stunning announcement. Jody Arrington, Republican Texas, says he's calling it quits. After nearly a decade in Congress, hoping he leaves on a high note after helping shepherd President Trump's agenda. Oh, real? I don't know what this person's story is, but it's another one stepping down. They don't do that, folks. They usually stay there till the flipping cows come home. Is this Jack Posobiec? Oh, gosh. He gave us a reminder. 1.7 million people. Charlie Kirk was murdered in public. 1.7 million people in Virginia elected a leftist to a top security position who stated he wants conservative children to lose their lives. The right responded by bickering, infighting, and e-drama while the violent left marches on. Well, it's not only that, Jack. It's the motor voting and illegals voting because there ain't no way that the majority of people in Virginia wanted that guy over top of a normal human being. Here's Trump. When Obama just said the country may not survive the Trump presidency, what he was really saying was our treasonous coup will not survive the Trump presidency. Obama's running around trying to shore up support. So Trump is posting stuff referring to the coup. Here we go again. The Obamacare secret at the heart of the shutdown. Insurers made billions at taxpayers' expense. Subsidies were greatly expanded by the Biden administration during COVID-19 pandemic as an emergency measure, but Democrats have fought to keep them permanent. And look how much they're finding in the COVID money fraud. But anyway, yeah, if they hadn't done that illness, Obamacare would have been a disaster. People would have been paying out the nose back in 2019. Oh boy, just in, deep state panics after prosecutors hint at Trump-Russia conspiracy case with resignations. What? What do you mean? Panic has reportedly erupted inside the Department of Justice after two prosecutors abruptly resigned from the Southern District of Florida. That's where that magistrate judge did the search warrant on Mar-a-Lago, amid what sources are describing as a sweeping conspiracy. So, people are scared. What was that guy's name? He was a magistrate judge. He was in Southern Florida. He approved the warrant on Mar-a-Lago, and now you got two prosecutors running like hell. Maybe they're resigning so they can testify. I don't know. Or maybe they were complicit. Oh, remember this, folks? Remember me saying, how many of you that have been with me for a long time remember me saying to remember the word quantum? You'd be hearing the word quantum quite a bit. Not just in computers, but in finance, in voting. Okay, the term quantum. IBM unveiled, and don't forget I told you all my father retired from IBM. IBM unveils new Nighthawk quantum processor. Sci-fi come to life. They say it's the fastest computer in the world. The fastest computer in history. Fox Business Lawrence Amoti goes inside IBM's quantum computing lab. They're going to use this technology to track elections, ballots, securities, financing, all kinds of stuff. Be catching fraud from the ballot box to offshore banks. Are y'all running low on pennies? The last penny was struck today. There it is. Well, that can't be right. That says 2005. What are you doing, Citizen Free Press? Just taking a Google picture? That's a 20-year-old penny. Ha ha ha! But we were losing money on pennies, so we're not stamping them out anymore. Trump said that a while back. That was what we were going to do. Let's see here. Just in, senator embroiled in scandal after link to fraudulent release of illegal migrant revealed. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, stated that a staffer for Senator Tammy Duckworth misrepresented himself as the attorney of an illegal alien as part of a bogus attempt to secure his release. Keep an eye on that. And don't forget, Judge Backdoor Dugan He's going to be going to court here soon. What? No, let me see what I got here. What do I got here? Wait a minute. Here's Trump. What? I got a video of Trump. Let me see what this was about. This is when he was. When he was being interviewed. Wow. When he was being interviewed by Laura Ingraham, I believe. Let me see. I forgot the subject.
Are you going ahead and suing the BBC?
Well, I guess I have to. Why not? Because they defrauded the public, and they've admitted it, and their top echelon.
Director General and the CEO
This
both
is
resigned.
within one of our great allies. This is supposedly our great ally, BBC. The government has a chunk of that one, I guess, but that's a pretty sad event. They actually changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it. What they did was rather incredible. They're showing me the results later on, the results of butchered it up. But it was very dishonest.
Yeah, BBC's getting sued. How you doing, Mac? Hi, Debbie. Yeah, Mac, your text showed up. We see it. Or I do. BBC getting sued. I guess people in chats can see it. Here's the creep right here. I was going to make a thumbnail out of this. This creep. This radical, libelous slanderer from the BBC. Trump's going to sue him for $1 billion. They'll say, oh, he only got 20 million. He sued for $1 billion. Well, 20 million is 20 million. I don't know about you, but it would hurt my pocket. Now, who's this? I'd be very grateful to get $20 million. Oh, remember we talked about this multiple times. We launched an investigation into J.P. Morgan Chase. Remember how many times was I talking about J.P. Morgan Chase was involved in Epstein finances in the Virgin Islands and also bribing local officials allegedly, or the money was used. Let's hear this.
Today, we've sent a letter and launched an investigation into J.P. Morgan Chase Bank after alarming revelations about their coordinated efforts with Jack Smith and the Department of Justice as part of the Biden administration's Operation Arctic Frost, where we now know Biden officials went after their political enemies. It's come to our attention that J.P. Morgan debanked Trump Media Group, a Florida-based company, right before the business went public. This is a crucial time for any company, a time where you cannot afford to lose your bank. In addition, we're aware that J.P. Morgan Bank solicited tons of information from Trump Media, unrelated to their business practices, and we believe provided sensitive banking information to the Department of Justice without real probable cause. This is wrong, we will not tolerate it, and we will hold them accountable. Here in Florida, we've passed legislation to protect our consumers from wrongful debanking, and we will stand by our consumers. Thank you.
That's a Florida.
Today we've sent a letter.
Florida AG. Florida AG. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of scared people resigning down there in Florida. But anyway, so Trump Media Group's gonna sue J.P. Morgan too. Watch that. And Trump is going to sue the BBC. Trump's media settlements. Oh my word! You tizzle 4.5 million. Meta 25 million. X 10 million. CBS 16 million. ABC News, Disney 16 million. Add another million on there. It was 17 really. George Stephanopoulos had to pay out of his own pocket for attorney's fees $1 million. No wonder he's such a jerk. Ha ha ha. Here is here's a helicopter. No, this wasn't a helicopter. This was a plane carrying 20 soldiers in Hungary. They crashed. And man, I'm telling you what, this is probably the scariest way to go down. You see crashes where it's like, well, they probably had no idea it was coming, or it was just a few seconds of terror. This is a spinning, slow descent, and I'm sure it was tough to go through. But here's a plane crash on the Turkey, I believe it was Azerbaijan border. If you replay it, you see a large piece off to the left falling. But it looked to me like somebody was trying to gain some kind of control. That could have been the tail section flying away. Did y'all see that piece flying away? But it looked to me like somebody was still trying to gain control, man. Man, that's tough. But here's the whoa, come on now. Where's the accident scene? Whoa, what's going on here? What happened to my video? Didn't get removed, did it? Here's the accident scene, if I can get it to... Yeah, this was after the crash. This is the remnants. I don't think it shows any people, if you know what I'm saying. I don't want to show stuff like that, but I don't remember seeing it, so let's see. There was 20 people on board. It looked to me like that one guy was carrying the black box. I don't know, Miss Spencer. Some places where I get videos, you curl your hair, what pops up. I go on Telegram and places like that, and you see some hideous stuff. Got to be careful. Let's see. Let's see here. What's this one? Oh, obese U.S. visa applicants may be rejected to save health care, taxpayers' costs. You know, I've been watching videos about the Australian border and the Canadian border. They have like a TV show where they show people getting caught with drugs, people doing this, people doing that. One of the things they did, it was a Canadian border show. They refused the guy entry because he was really low on his heart medicine and he was a little heavy. And they said, we're not letting you in. You're going to run out of medicine. You're going to want us to give you the medicine for free, and you might have a heart attack, and we'll have to pay for it all. So, no, you can't come in the country. That's what they do in Canada. Visa crackdown. A new directive tells U.S. embassies to weigh chronic health issues, including obesity, heart, and respiratory disease, when deciding who gets a visa. Non-citizen immigrants are far more likely to be uninsured, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. Principal Deputy Spokesperson Tommy Peugeot said the policy ensures our immigration is not a burden on the American taxpayer. You know how many diseases have probably come over that border? You know how many hundreds of millions we've spent on people coming to this country just a wreck physically, and we got to take care of them? Wait a minute, what's this video? When I got knocked out of my studio, it took me out of my rhythm. I don't know what this is about. Is this Fox News? Is this another Scott Bessent? Who is this? What's this about?
There is an interesting conversation, an important conversation about the future of American health care over Obama.
And I don't know about you, but I would need to start a...
Obamacare. Say it like it is. It's Obamacare. That's what I put in the chats every time I make a comment.
Square number one. How did we get here? How did it get out of control? What was the failure of Obamacare? Let's go back in time.
If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period. I will not sign a plan that adds one dime to our deficits, either now or in the future. The only thing this plan would eliminate is the hundreds of billions of dollars in waste and fraud, as well as unwarranted subsidies in Medicare that go to insurance companies.
Is that the way it played out over the last 15 years? Well, let's go over to the wall and take a look. First of all, it's plainly untrue that if you liked your health care plan or that you liked your doctor, you'd be able to keep them. Once Obamacare was instituted in 2013, almost 6 million Americans lost their insurance on the individual insurance market. The vast majority of Americans get their health care coverage through their employer, but there were those among us who bought individual plans, who were promised that they could keep their doctor or they could keep their plan. It wasn't true for 2.6 million Americans. We move forward in time, and Obamacare offered tax credits to
affordable to most Americans.
They call it tax credits, but they used to call it rebates. They used to call it tax rebates. Remember, folks? Well, they changed the terminology to tax credit because people were asking, how do you get a rebate when you never baited? Okay? How do you get a refund when you never paid taxes? Because these programs just give money with child tax credits and these kind of credits. You got people getting tens. I know a guy that has like 6 kids. He got like $17,000 in tax credit, and he's on disability, doesn't even work. And so is his wife. They don't pay taxes. So how could they get a rebate? So that's why they changed it from rebate to credit. That's how we pay for the silent thieves. That's how we pay for other people's crap.
There's been a lot of talk about subsidies and what extended during COVID would continue. Now, if those subsidies do not continue, if they expire as they are set to do and as they were written in legislation to do, well, the market is the question sits there on the table for me and for you. How did Obamacare end up jacking up the prices for health care after promising to solve coverage and prices?
Because it was a big bunch of crap. A con job. They knew damn good and well they were going to import illegal aliens. They knew damn good and well they were going to do that. And they did. I want to see who this is, too. My brain blew out over what's going on here with these videos. Oh, this was the TPUSA event. I hope they find the hell out of Berkeley and put that guy in. What's his name? Jihad. Jihad needs to go to jail.
All right, Andrew. So what happened last night?
Well, Jesse, it seems like it was a coordinated attack on a peaceful event, and you can't make this stuff up, as you said in your lead up. That they say in their flyers that we're inciting violence just by being on campus and hosting an event with Rob Schneider, a comedian, an actor. And the irony is just so rich because they say that our words are violence, but their actual violence is mostly peaceful. And so they cordoned off. The university put the free speech plaza right in front of the entrance. So of course all chaos broke out, and we were funneled into one entryway into this venue, and it took for that car backfire before the cops actually got into gear and actively engaged the crowd, these agitators, these far left Antifa thugs. It took that because people thought it was an actual gun going off or a bomb exploding. And people started scattering, Jesse. So this was an absolute coordinated attack to disrupt the event, and thank goodness they failed.
I mean, do you think that any of the local officials purposely made it difficult, made it a little bit more dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, I do actually. I want to be careful with what I say, but I will tell you, 2 weeks before the event, we had to switch to the university's ticketing system. And so what happens when you do that is it opens it up for far left agitators and protesters, disruptors, to grab those tickets. And so what we had happen is that there was about 500 tickets of people that didn't show up, and that's their whole game. They want to grab the tickets and then leave it empty to make it look like we don't have a big growing movement in the wake of Charlie's assassination. And the truth is, thousands of people were not able to get into this event because either their tickets didn't work, they got scared away, or harassed and attacked and had to flee the scene. And the university's response was, it's not our job to fill your event. Well, we filled it anyways, but there was thousands more that wanted to be there and were unable to make it because of the shenanigans with the ticketing system. And we've had that at other universities. It's actually become a common ploy of, I think, left-wingers within the admins that want to disrupt our event, that don't want us to be there. Well, we've got news for them. We're not stopping.
How about this guy, Jihad? Can you believe this guy's name is Jihad? What was he trying to, he was trying to snatch that guy's, his cross off his neck?
Yeah, that's exactly what he was trying to do. This was a peaceful guy. We have video from well before this altercation took place. He was just out there with his Red Freedom shirts, and he kept saying, Jesus is Lord, Jesus is Lord. And they were agitating, they were attacking him, jeering, and he just remained peaceful until Jihad came up, grabbed his cross off his neck, and that poor gentleman went to go collect it, and the guy started attacking and assaulting him. And to his credit, he kept going. He wanted his cross back before the police. They obviously didn't know who started or what was going on. Both of them got cuffed, but ultimately it was Jihad that is getting arrested, and he's getting charged.
Yeah, let's see how that turns out. Let's see what kind of judge Jihad gets. Is he going to get a jihadi judge? Hi, Felix, how you doing? Patricia, nice to see you. Debbie's here. Gus is here. How you doing? Hi, Jerry. Yeah, it was a dead stick fall. It was a bad plane wreck, that's for sure. Anyway, folks, I got this nice video here that I think you'll enjoy. Here's a young lady wearing a MAGA hat. Was she smoking a cigarette? And thank goodness there aren't a bunch of crazy lunatics trying to beat her up or pull her hat off her head. But anyway, I'm going to play this video for you so you can see what her thoughts on the matters are. And I want to thank everybody for spending their precious time with me this evening. I really appreciate it. And everybody that went to buy me a coffee. I know Norm went by this morning, and Wayne, and Mike and Bev this week, and we'll see. I know Miss Minister and Gary have contributed best. A lot of other people. I appreciate it. So anyway, enjoy this video. I should be going live tomorrow night if nothing happens to cause me problems. We'll see. So anyway, I hope you all have a great night. Enjoy this video. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
Been a Republican.
Thank you. Just a little while ago, I was a Democrat my whole life, but then I realized I don't align with anything. My beliefs, who I am, don't align with anything about the Democratic Party. I'm a Christian, so I'm not about abortions. That's not something that should be the forefront. So I don't push abortions. I'm not with teaching transgender to our kids. And I'm not telling our kids you can be a he, she, and you can cut off your private parts. I'm not with that. And the thing is, I'm not with open borders. I'm not with illegal aliens coming over here and being prioritized over American citizens.